no teníamos conocimiento de que hubiera un trabajo directo entre el estado de Chihuahua.
America, every channel you've watched this week framed this as a fight between Mexico and the United States about who's allowing to do what inside of Mexico's borders. That's not the story here. The actual story is on April 18th and April 19th, 2026, someone destroyed what Mexican investigators called the largest cartel meth operation ever found in the country. 6 hidden labs, mountains so deep and remote that drones were needed just to find them. Tons of drug-making materials gone. 4 people died coming home from that mission on April 20th. And Mexico's president responded by threatening to punish the Mexican state that helped make this all possible, while the cartel that owned those labs heard nothing from her. Not a word. But here's what catches us off guard. The proof that she's lying about what she knew didn't come from a political opponent. It came from her own security secretary, her own press conference. Her own army was confirmed to be at this operation. She just didn't know until her own people confirmed she did.
A source with knowledge of the matter tells NBC News 2 CIA officers, along with 2 Mexican officials, died following the operation this weekend in a car accident.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Let me make sure everybody is following the same story before we go a little bit deeper. Chihuahua is a state in northern Mexico that shares a border with Texas and New Mexico. Starting around January 2026, investigators from Chihuahua State Attorney's Office and Mexico's federal military worked a case together for 3 months. They were tracking a network of hidden cartel drug labs sitting in the mountains so remote that a team had to use drones just to locate them. On the night of April 18th and 19th, they moved in. 6 labs raided and destroyed. The Chihuahua Attorney General described it as one of the largest meth production sites ever found anywhere in Mexico. Then the team loaded up into a 5-car convoy and started driving out those mountains. 2 in the morning. Think about that. Pitch black roads carved through the terrain that's basically the size of Germany. The lead truck, you guys, never made it out.
There was a convoy of 5 vehicles. The crashed vehicle was in front, leading the convoy. It was nighttime. We are talking about around 2 a.m., and it appears to have skidded in one area and fallen into a ravine, causing the pickup truck to explode.
All this in a rural part of Mexico's Chihuahua region, where these 2 American officials and actually 2 Mexican officials also with the local Chihuahua State Investigation Agency all died.
All 4 were in the lead truck, the one out front, the one that hit the mountain road first at 2 in the morning, leading everyone else out of the most dangerous corners of Mexico. 2 of the 4 people who died have names that deserve to be said out loud. Pedro Roman Cervantes was a senior regional commander of Chihuahua State Investigation Agency, the AEI. He ran the 3-month investigation that found those labs. Manuel Mendoza Montes was his personal protection officer. Both names are in the official Chihuahua Attorney General press release. The 2 others were American CIA officers. AP News confirmed it using a U.S. official plus 2 separate sources. CNN confirmed it independently through 3 sources briefed on the matter. The CIA never released the names of the officers who died in service. Their families know. The agency will put stars on the walls at the headquarters in Virginia. That is where their names are going to live for now. One day after the crash, Sheinbaum walks into a morning press conference. Her exact quote here: "It is not an operation that the security cabinet was aware of. We were not informed. It was a decision by the Chihuahua government." Clear, direct, on camera. Now pay attention to what the CBS News intelligence reporter noted about how fast all of this became public.
It is rare and unusual for any CIA-linked casualties to surface this publicly and in what's almost real time. The agency usually releases very little public information about their fallen.
The pressure around this story forced everything into the open faster than anybody was ready for, including Claudia Sheinbaum. So here's where her "I don't know" falls apart completely. Her own security cabinet confirmed that Mexico's army and state prosecutors carried out a joint operation in Chihuahua over the weekend. Sheinbaum's own army, her own security secretary, admitted that Mexico's defense ministry received an official request for security support from the United States before the operation even started. You don't have a request you don't know about. Someone in her government read that. Someone said yes or no. That person works for Claudia Sheinbaum.
Mexico legally and also politically does not accept foreign and especially United States intervention on their sovereign affairs. Mexico is very much, no matter the party, obsessed with its own sovereignty. However, what I think is fascinating is the history of the CIA in Mexico and the very close relationship that the Mexican government at the very highest level, that is the president, has had with the CIA, secretly, but always ongoing from the 1960s onwards.
Secretly, but always ongoing. Mexican president who publicly attacked American involvement were privately receiving CIA intelligence the entire time. Sheinbaum is running the exact same play right now. The cartel that owned those 6 labs lost everything. Tons of material destroyed. 3 months of infrastructure gone. Finito burrito. They don't know exactly what intelligence was collected. They don't know what names investigators now have. And from Mexico's president, they heard nothing. No investigation, no sanctions, no press conference, zero. The state of Chihuahua, which spent 3 months building the case against those labs, received a letter from Claudia Sheinbaum announcing possible sanctions. She personally called the governor of Chihuahua. She sent a formal complaint to the U.S. ambassador. She demanded all the information from state prosecutors. She went hard after the people who helped, left the people who built the operation completely alone.
Now this week, Mexico's president now demanding an explanation from the U.S., saying her security officials were never informed of any joint operation with the United States, adding they will carry out a full investigation to see if any national security law has been violated. Meantime, the CIA not directly commenting on the operation or the deaths of those 2 Americans.
The CIA expanded in Mexico specifically to fight cartels. The expansion happened with Claudia Sheinbaum publicly claiming cooperation. Now the cooperation is a crime. What changed here? 4 people died publicly, and she needed a villain that obviously wasn't her or the cartel. Here's the political piece that most people are skipping on this. Chihuahua is ran by the PAN party, P-A-N party, the opposition, not Sheinbaum's party. The governor of Chihuahua is a political opponent of her administration, threatening to sanction a political rival using a tragedy as a justification is not national security policy. That's something else entirely. Every major outlet covering the story is focused on diplomatic relationship and legal procedures. Nobody is consistently asking where that meth was going once it left those mountains. Listen to what the former acting DEA administrator said about what those 6 labs represent.
What is the big deal to go after these cartels using experts in the CIA or the DEA, the Homeland Security, FBI, Marshals? What are we trying to hide? We have terrorists that are devastating the country of Mexico, not just America. They're killing historic amounts of children. So I don't like when we put politics ahead of national security and public safety. Our president has made it crystal clear that he will provide whatever resources are necessary to Mexico to go after these terrorists. Thank God they were declared terrorists finally after many years. And I'm glad to see that they did have a significant seizure of a meth lab. If you look at what's going on in this country with methamphetamine, it's incredible, and it's so underreported. I mean, I sent a bunch of pictures in because I want to be clear. They had 170,000 pounds of meth seized by the CBP last year. But look at the seizures we're having inside the country. There was 2,700 pounds in California recently, historic, 2,000 pounds by the Texas DPS last month.
That is just what they caught. The drug war analysis firm at Brookings Institute confirmed Mexican cartels are now aggressively expanding meth markets into Europe, Australia, and the Middle East. Those 6 mountain labs were active supply chains. They're gone now. But Sheinbaum's response is to build a legal wall that makes the next destruction operation harder to run.
One of the important issues is whether U.S. law enforcement agents will be able to be on the ground and in what roles. And her response here, I think, risks reinforcing the voices in the United States who call for military action, and they are in the Trump administration.
She's pointing out that performing outrage for the camera strengthens the argument for the option that would be far worse for Mexico's sovereignty than one CIA convoy. Sheinbaum is trading a manageable situation for a potential unmanageable one. And here's the little detail that makes the "I had no idea the CIA was operating here" impossible to say without a straight face. February 2026, 2 months before this raid, Mexican authorities tracked down and killed El Mencho, the leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, one of the most wanted and dangerous cartel bosses in Mexico's history. He was found hiding in a remote cabin. Multiple reports had confirmed a CIA drone located him, and Sheinbaum publicly acknowledged the U.S. provided critical intelligence support for that takedown. She said thank you for CIA involvement in February. She opened an investigation into CIA involvement in April.
So what's a little odd here, John, as you know, the U.S. military, and especially the CIA, typically only works with very closely vetted units like the Marinas for fear of leaks. And in this bust, someone did tip off the cartel, and everyone at that lab was gone when the Army arrived.
4 people died on those mountain roads after destroying abandoned facilities because somebody inside the operation leaked it. And Sheinbaum is focused on whether the CIA filed the right paperwork for this. There is a leak somewhere in the chain. The cartel knew enough in advance to clear out everything. Investigators knew that somebody had talked, and every agency involved presumably is going to spend considerable amount of time figuring out who leaked it. While that investigation runs quietly, Sheinbaum's public investigation runs loudly in another direction. Hear what it actually looks like for an American family when somebody dies in classified intelligence work overseas.
If you're working for the CIA or if you're working for DEA and you are deployed to another country, those are national security positions and operations. So it's really on a need-to-know basis. And those individuals have the highest level secrets, highest level clearances, top secret or above, in the United States government. So they certainly can't be sharing that information with friends or family members.
Think about this. There are families right now who may have found out their person was in Mexico from a TV segment. That is how classified assignments work. No advanced warning, no full explanation, a flag, a star on the wall, and questions that will never fully get answered. Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of the country where those 2 CIA officers died helping remove a drug supply chain from her mountains, has issued no public condolences for them, no statement honoring what they were doing. She opened an investigation instead. A former CIA chief spent his career running intelligence operations overseas. Watch what he says is his very first question about the entire situation.
Well, my first question is why the government of Mexico isn't expressing their condolences for the loss of life. American officials who were trying to do their best to wipe out a national security threat to Mexico and the United States. I can tell you from my experience, the sort of work that the CIA does is to build capacity for our foreign government partners so that they can conduct operations like these against drug traffickers and drug labs.
A man who ran CIA stations abroad said his first question, not about the law, not about who knew what, is about why no one said thank you for the 4 people who are now dead. America, every cartel operating in those mountains got the same lesson from Claudia Sheinbaum's response to this story. Build labs, make them big, and if American agents help destroy them, the president of Mexico will threaten the state that allowed it, not you. She'll announce investigations. She'll send formal complaint letters. She'll hold press conferences about sovereignty. and you'll get complete silence. Pedro Roman Cervantes and Manuel Mendoza Montes gave 3 months of their lives to that case. They died on a mountain road at 2 in the morning after helping eliminate the largest meth operation their country had ever found. Their president handed them a political problem, not a ceremony. The 2 CIA officers, stars on the wall in Virginia, names still classified. And somewhere in those mountains, new materials are already being moved into position because the cartel just confirmed that destroying labs comes with the cost, but only for the people doing the destroying. The bodies tell you who matters. The silence, that tells you the rest. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.